So to begin with, we're just going to close our eyes together. If you're used to doing this open-eyed, you also can. There's just however you actually feel guided in this. And we're going to go back to the most essential key points of our practice, and that is that every single moment, every single breath, every single aspect of our being is going to be saturated with and embody and become the deity, become the guardian, become the teacher. There is ultimately no difference between you and Mary Magdalene, or you and the Christ consciousness, or you and the Buddha, or you and Yeshe Tsogyal. There is no difference between the enlightened consciousness that all those beings connected to and you. So here we're going to go back to some of the most simple and most essential parts of our practices, and that is that every single experience can be an experience of that deity. So I want you to connect with a time or a place, just to begin with, as we dive into this together, where you were really able to surrender to that being, or came in contact with that being. There's a reason that you have chosen, in my case, Kuan Yin, in your case, Kuan Yin and Yeshua, or Kuan Yin, or White Kuan Yin, or Kuan Yin, or Kuan Yin, or Sananda, or Vajrayogini. So there are all these beautiful essences that you are connecting to. So I want you to really deeply feel into a time when you first connected. Now, even though, or when you had a really deep connection with that mentor or guardian or teacher or deity or Yidam. So here, for example, the way that I'm connecting with it is the very first time that I prayed in front of a statue of Kuan Yin, and a pearl emerged out of the heart of her. And so that had a very profound effect on me, because I remember exactly what that was like. And it was astonishing because it was in front of people that were present, and that sense of awe is actually, it wasn't the fact that the pearl came out, it was the sense of awe that went along with it. So whatever helps you to connect to Sananda or to Kuan Yin or to any of these Vajrayogini, or any of the way that you're connecting to that, I want you to feel that for a few moments. Just the most important thing is the feeling. You're going to feel that arise, and just notice where it arises for you. So for me, it's in my heart. So it's in that front part of the chest. It always feels warm when I connect into that. And I want you to do the same for whatever you're present to. So what do you feel into when you feel into that Yidam or deity or guardian or mentor? And where do you feel that in your body? And just for a moment, awaken that aliveness and that power of that deity, that connection with the deity. So like I said, I'm going back to the moment when I first prayed in front of Kuan Yin's statue and the pearl came out, and you might come to a moment when you first connected with Sananda or Kuan Yin or Vajrayogini or whoever else you are connecting to right now. You're going to go back to that moment, maybe the first moment, or maybe a really pure moment. And I want you to feel where it arises in you. So as I said, mine arises in my chest, and then I'm going to saturate. I want you to let that feeling saturate your entire body, so that the aliveness of the guardian or the mentor or the deity begins to flow into you. And actually consciously direct that energy. So I'm now directing it down to my belly. So it actually feels now like Kuan Yin's in my belly. It feels so cool. It feels so beautiful. And down through your hips and legs and right down to your feet. And then equally let that energy flow up into other parts of your body. Let it flow down your arms, into your hands, up into your throat, into your crown and third eye. So you're doing that. You're really coming alive with the power of connection. And I also want you to go back in time, maybe when you're a child, and just go back to a time when as a child you connected in with either the same energy or similar energies. So for me, it was Kuan Yin became Mother Mary when I was a child. So I was tuned into her through my godmother who gave me guidance. So just notice what happens when I ask you to go into your childhood and to connect with a similar kind of energy. Could be the same if you knew Sananda or Vajrayogini or Kuan Yin or Long Nu or any of these great beings. Could be Mother Mary, could be Yeshua, whoever you're connecting into. Just notice what happens when I say connect into a time in childhood, really pure time, when you're open to that presence. And notice how that feels. So when you feel into that presence, notice how that arises in your body. So for me, it was with all the archangels around me. So it always felt, again, it was a chest-related experience. Notice where that arises in your body. And so invoke that feeling, invoke that connection. Just notice what that connection does when you connect the two. So I'm connecting Mother Mary to Kuan Yin. You might be connecting Sananda to Sananda, or Vajrayogini to Kuan Yin, or you might be connecting Yeshua. And just notice what happens when I ask you to connect a childhood experience of that to now. And then go into teenage years, adolescent years, and connect with a similar feeling there. So for me, it was through Yogananda and Divine Mother in teenage years. For you, it might be something different. Just connecting with a feeling from those times. So again, it's still heart-based for me. It's an opening. I can feel it very strongly, opening those teenage years feelings. So just notice what happens when I ask you to tap into a similar feeling as Sananda or Yeshua or Kuan Yin or Mother Mary or whoever else you're tuning. Notice what happens when I ask you to tune in during teenage years. So it could be just a mentor or a guide or a teacher that's similar. It could be your mum that was similar. Wonderful. And then connect into either a book or a teaching related to that Yidam or guardian or deity. So it could be just like I have for Kuan Yin's oracle cards, for example. Or it could be a particular book that you've read about Kuan Yin or Sananda or Yeshua, Virgin Mary. Just notice how that arises. It could be a book, could be music, something that helps you to connect with the wisdom and how it's unfolded in your life through a book or something influential like that. So you're just simply aligning at this point. You're just simply doing an alignment practice, aligning your divine presence, your innate divine presence, the same divine presence that exists within these marvelous higher beings like Kuan Yin or Yeshua. Oh, it's really beautiful. And it guides you and it floods into you flawlessly and fulfillingly. And as you let go of the ego's need to grab onto things, here we're just sensing, just through time, through childhood, adolescent years, time, through books, through music, through the way the deity or Yidam arises, the way the guardian arises, we're sensing into the subtle movements of our own inner nature, and we're awakening to what's present, learning to listen and respond to the call of our own true self, working with these alignment practices. And then I want you to connect to a food connected with the deity or Yidam or guardian or mentor. So what food do you associate with Yeshua or Sananda? And I want you to imagine that you're eating that. If you associate a food with Kuan Yin, or if you, so my immediate association is Amrita because I've actually tasted it. I tasted it out of one of the other statues that was beside Kuan Yin's statue. So it could be anything. It could be a grape, could be a pure drink of water. I want you to notice what comes up when I ask you to associate with a food or a drink associated with that Yidam or deity. Who do you associate it? Sananda's food with, or Yeshua's food with, or Vajrayogini's food with, or Mother Mary's food. It could be something as simple as your mum or your dad's cooking. Right? It could be just that. What do you associate with that? Just notice that, and notice that taste in your mouth. So I can taste that Amrita from the very day I prayed in front of that statue. There was Amrita flowing out of the statue next to it. So it can be incredibly simple. It can be just a bread that's very pure, or a particular childhood food that you're really connected to. What do you connect in terms of food or drink? And then we're going to go into the first part of the invocation itself. And generally in an invocation, it's a practice of issuing a divine invitation to Kuan Yin or Sananda, to Yeshua or Mother Mary, to Vajrayogini or any other being. So I want you to bring to mind the fact that you're requesting the presence of Sananda or Mother Mary in your life. You're requesting the presence of Kuan Yin. You're inviting them. You're basically calling them up and inviting them over. And you want them to show up in your room. You want to hang out together. It's a very real invitation. There are many, many spiritual worlds beyond our physical world. They're described in many ancient traditions, from worlds with spiritual beings who are learning on their spiritual paths, all the way up to those spiritual beings who are enlightened and dedicated to assisting us with skillful wisdom and loving grace. So the beings we want to invite into our world through this invocation are those who are on the highest evolutionary scale. And we ideally are amongst them on the peak of the summit. So you might actually find yourself right now, as you begin to open this invitation, you might find yourself in a different world. You might find yourself in Potalaka or Sukhavati or a heaven or a fairy realm. Just notice where you're guided as you begin to feel into this invocation, because you're opening a channel of connection between your world, this world, and another realm. You have a spiritual right and an inbuilt capacity to do this. You are genuinely requesting help from the highest source of guidance available to you, and it is always given, and you can always trust it. Just like you can trust if you ask direction from somebody who genuinely knows the desired destination and how to best get there and wants to help you, this is the same way. This is a deep direction. So the love of Kuan Yin, Sananda, Yeshua, Mother Mary is unconditional and generous and filled with the utmost compassion, wisdom, and encouragement for you. And you begin to feel that now, that guidance and that light from this higher level being, whoever you've chosen. The results are truly profoundly transformative, and they uplift you. They free you from all fear, doubt, and confusion. They allow you to flow into peace and trust and clarity. You can sense their presence even now. So this is the transformation that's already happening right now through this divine communion, through this divine connection. you're beginning to hang out with the most enlightened crowd in all the galaxies. And so, of course, some of that greatness is going to rub off on you and going to bring the best out in you. This requires deep, deep faith and letting go again and again and again, dropping into the sacred work and allowing Kuan Yin, Sananda, Yeshua, Mother Mary, Vajrayogini to reach out to you. So here we're willing to surrender into the feminine way of being, a deep divine feminine, which requires deep trust. And as you go through this, different visions may unfold as you're going deeper and deeper. So just trust whatever arises. There's a deep love, a profound sense of intimacy and devotion because you are allowing and inviting Kuan Yin, Sananda, Yeshua, Mother Mary, Vajrayogini to love you. And that kind of love can break open our hearts in the most beautiful way. Your heart might feel stretched or opened or so light and full, way beyond what you ever consider possible. You might feel the most extraordinary guidance coming to you now as we align, as we open. So first we're going to seek refuge and dedicate all merit. As we align with this deity, master, with Sananda or Yeshua, with Mother Mary or Kuan Yin, with Vajrayogini or any deity or any teacher. So first I want you to put your mind in Sananda, put your mind in Mother Mary, put your mind in Kuan Yin, put your mind in Vajrayogini, your heart in Mary's hands, put your heart in Yeshua's hands, put your heart in Mother Mary's hands, put your heart in Kuan Yin's hands, put your heart in Vajrayogini's hands. And ask for help with anything, any physical or emotional upheaval in your life. If you're feeling doubts or you're feeling fears, or you're feeling a lack of energy or anything, just ask for help. And we're going to dedicate this merit. We're going to offer up all the benefits of this work to all beings. May the energy generated here be sent to where it can do the most good. May the energy generated here be sent to where it can do the most good. May the energy generated here be sent to where it can do the most good. It's a bit like feeling that all the energy that you're doing from this invocation and meditation or healing is actually being donated to a charity run by Divine Mother. Then your blessings are multiplied. So now I want you to bring your hands up to your heart and place your hands on your heart. And take several long, slow, deep breaths to calm yourself. Breathing in, this deep, interconnected, slow, deep breath of presence. In, out. Notice the exhalation. Allow it to be as complete as possible without forcing it, a full exhalation of surrender. It has this cleansing, calming effect on the body and the mind. Then the inhalation which follows, will be naturally deeper too. Notice the flow of the breath in and the flow of the breath out, and notice the gentle touch of your hands on your heart, nurturing that blessed heart. Now we're going to gently use the invocation, and you can call the invocation out loud. That's certainly the way I'm going to do it, but you can also do it quietly in your mind. Use a quiet, calm voice to do that. Just speaking powerfully out loud to yourself, and I'll go through the first part very slowly. So you're going to use the name of Sananda or Yeshua or Mother Mary or Vajrayogini or Kuan Yin. So in this, I'm going to call upon Kuan Yin, but equally it could be Isis or Shiva or Medicine Buddha. So you're going to say, I call upon you. So actually make the call. I call upon you. Kuan Yin, Universal Mother, or Sananda, Universal Father, or Yeshua, Universal Christ, however you do that. I call upon you in all your forms of unconditional love, including, so if you want to include any other names here, this is the time to do it, including Mother Mary, Isis, so I'm including all the feminine forms. So I call upon you, Kuan Yin, and say the name. Say it a few times. Really say it out loud. I call upon you, Kuan Yin, Divine Mother, or I call upon you, Mother Mary, or I call upon you, Sananda, or I call upon you, Yeshua. I call upon you, Vajrayogini, Medicine Buddha, Shiva. I ask for your light and compassion. So you say this out loud. I ask for your light and compassion. And then wisdom and protection. Presence and your blessing. And your guardianship now and forever. Really make that very clear. And then please help me to feel and know your presence in my heart. And feel her or him in your heart. Feel them. So all this blue light is radiating around me as a result of this invocation. For the greatest good of all. And then say, I open myself completely to your grace and peace. May this practice bring benefit to all beings. Now it's time to let your mind and heart and body, your spirit, relax and settle into the reality that you've set through these words. So do this in whatever way you feel most attuned to. A simple way is to imagine the feeling of Divine Mother, Kuan Yin, or Divine Father, Sananda, or Yeshua, or Divine Mother Mary in your heart, or Vajrayogini arising. Use whatever experiences you have of divine love to foster this feeling. So here you might remember a beautiful oracle card reading or a friend that gave you the feeling of Kuan Yin or Sananda, or something that's happened that really reassured you of that wonder and gratitude of Kuan Yin or Sananda or Yeshua or Mary or Vajrayogini in your life. Maybe it was a beautiful act of kindness that you've witnessed or that you enacted yourself. Maybe you can summon an experience of the most protective, powerful, unbreakable bond between you and Kuan Yin, or between you and the Divine Mother, or between you and Sananda, or between you and Yeshua, like a tigress with her cubs, or a lion with his children. Feel into that. Maybe you identify particularly with the mother archetype and you imagine yourself as a mother holding the earth lovingly in your arms. Or maybe you're Yeshua or Sananda with your arms wrapped around the earth or supporting it on your shoulders. Or if you're the child, then perhaps you imagine Divine Mother holding you or bathing you or holding you tenderly in her very broad, open, capable arms. Or perhaps you're being baptized. Or perhaps the Divine Mother or Divine Father is holding you as you hold others in loving, protective arms. Just work with the deepest, simplest visualization that helps you connect to the Universal Mother or Universal Father in your heart. Experiment with what works for you. And then keep your focus there. Keep her love or her light or his love or his light or your feeling of her. Allow it into you. Allow it to fill you. Allow it to radiate and saturate through your being. Your ability to feel that she's always with you or he's always with you throughout your day grows as you do this. This intimacy with her, with him, grows. You feel it so easily done, like having the most wonderful friend. The moment you reconnect, you're suddenly back, just as if you'd never left. Oh, you're so used now to tuning in. It's so simple to drop into the state of refuge. There's something incredibly magical that takes place when we drop into a place of deepest refuge with the Divine Mother or the Divine Father. Instead of feeling that we have to call out to her or him, we actually experience her as already within us, blessing us. Sometimes with messages, sometimes with words, sometimes with the most extraordinary transmission of love and grace. A wordless, heart-melting love. We've become trusting enough to be relaxed and open. So now in that state, let her empower you. Let him empower you. Now we're going to go even deeper into the Yidam Tantric Deity Yoga practice. Now we know from science that the awareness of images creates a chemistry in our body that actually creates an immune system response. If you bring an image or a feeling of something really good, then it's going to impact the chemistry in your body. But if we sit and we watch a movie which has terror or fear, we know that that also causes an effect in our body. So here, the images that we take on have a deep effect to us, on us, similar to food. When we have an environment that's open and peaceful and free, we feel it in our body. And when we're around toxic people or toxic environments, we also recognize that that affects our body. So here you're feeling into the deep psycho-immune power of images and taking in beautiful images can be very potent. For a moment, I want you to go to an image of nature that you really connect with, the natural world, something that brings you healing, feeling. For example, hugging a tree or lying on the grass or just simply being surrounded by nature. So these truly creative, nourishing images actually really help us to nourish our immune system. So here, just notice where you're guided. Notice where you find yourself right now. out in nature somewhere. So I'm on a mountaintop in Japan, overlooking most of Japan from up on Mount Fuji. It's a very famous trip. It's something I've done that I absolutely love. So just notice where you find yourself naturally. Notice what image. So I'm above the clouds. It's very clear. I can see right over enormous distances. So just notice where you're guided. You could be in a lake, you could be in the ocean, you could be up a mountain, on a beach. Just notice where you're present to. Now, I also want you to awaken a different image, and that is an image from a dream. Just dream that you might have had recently, a dream message that might have come to you. So, for example, I had a dream of a singing bowl that gave rise to a galaxy. So it was just a simple singing bowl, and out of its center was a galaxy. So just notice what dream arises in you when I ask you to bring a dream image to mind. And just notice what arises in terms of that dream message. So for me, it was the song of the galaxy itself. So just notice what arises in you when I ask you about dream images. Divine images often come in dreams. So here, just notice what arises when I ask you to tap into the power of your dreams. Our experience of the divine is often very creative and personal and vital. So when we allow dreams to instruct us, we're offering the divine an opportunity to reach us through our dreams. Now I want you to go to an oracle card or an artistic image that arises. So that was why I asked you to select the cards at the beginning. And so if you have a particular oracle card that is present with you, you can look at it briefly, or you might just bring it to mind and just be aware of what looking at that image does. So for me, when I look at the tantric image of Kuan Yin, there's a power, there's a surge of Kundalini through my body that happens. So just notice what happens when you turn into an oracle card or an image or an artistic picture or a piece of art or a tanka or a sacred image. Just notice what comes to mind and what flows through your body. Just notice what beauty arises in you. Oracle cards are one simple way in which we tap into a deeper sense of spiritual beauty. So just notice how this spiritual beauty, this authentic, spontaneous vision arises in you. By opening to images that grab our hearts, we're pumping our body full of loving life force. We're startling our minds out of laziness. We're opening up to this emboldened power and inviting living light into our world. Such is the effect of a real divine image. It repairs your soul by opening the healing powers of living imagery and letting them flow through your being. So let that happen for a few moments. Just notice what happens if you start to absorb that image in front of you and to your right and behind you and to your left and below you and above you. Notice what happens as this power of the image opens up in you certain feelings, a safe place within ourselves, a place of honesty and openness and compassion, perhaps. The Yidam practice itself is a practice for visualizing a deity. It's another type of invocation, but this time it's an invocation that uses visualization instead of words. So here, even if you find the visualization a little difficult, simply feel into this, feel into what arises. You don't need to try to visualize it. If you're a person who finds it easy to visualize, that's fine. And if not, just simply see it. In other words, feel more than see. Yidam, or deity yoga or deity visualization practice, is an alchemical practice. Tantric deity yoga is simply saying that the deity, the universal mother, the universal father, in the form of Kuan Yin or Sananda or Yeshua or Mother Mary, is a catalyst which stimulates our own personal alchemy, our own personal transformation, allowing us to shed our false sense of self and actually saturate ourselves, alchemize ourselves with our true inner divine nature. Tantric deity yoga is the awakening of these divine qualities within us so that they become a source of well-being and love. In Tibetan, the term Yidam actually means heart bond deity. Heart bond. Any enlightened being could function as our Yidam. And we choose our Yidam based on our temperament in the way that the deity will best serve our spiritual progress. So here you're tuning into Kuan Yin. You're tuning into Vajrayogini. You're tuning into the power of whatever this quality in this deity or teacher brings up for you. So just notice for a moment when you tune into Kuan Yin or Sananda or Yeshua or Vajrayogini or Mother Mary, what's the quality? What is the deep, deep quality that comes up in you? So here for me, focusing on Divine Mother, healing in alignment with Kuan Yin is the most beautiful experience I can imagine. It's working through the feminine nature of my body. So if you're working with a masculine being like Sananda or Yeshua, you might be working through the masculine nature of your body. So I want you to feel like you're utterly melting into that masculine manifestation of Shiva or Christ or Sananda, just as I might melt into the feminine nature of Kuan Yin or Mother Mary. So I want you to feel into that beauty, power, and grace, however it flows through you. It's as if you're singing to Sananda or singing to Kuan Yin. It's as if you're singing to Yeshua or Mother Mary or singing to Vajrayogini. I want you to truly involve your body and your mind in a rapturous connection to the spiritual light. Really feel into this deep sense of absorption as you begin to immerse in it. Really rest into this as we begin the Yidam Deity Yoga practice. So here, to begin with, if you can't see it, you can imagine Sananda or Yeshua. If you want to open your eyes for a moment so that you can see and then feel him or her. Work with this feeling approach in the best way that you feel comfortable. It begins in the heart. So when you're doing the visualization, see that the deity, actually see that Sananda is being generated in your heart. It's very touching, right? To feel that Sananda is in your heart or Yeshua is in your heart. Feel that Mother Mary is in your heart. Feel that Kuan Yin is in your heart. Feel. that Vajrayogini is unfolding in your heart. Feel her, feel him. So if it's Kuan Yin, you could imagine her either as the male Avalokiteshvara or Chenrezig, or as the feminine form, which I'm doing. So here I'm going to visualize or imagine or pretend or feel I'm imagining a kind, luminous, white, feminine Buddha inside my heart. She has a soft gaze and a slight smile, and she's in bliss. And she's sitting on a lotus flower throne. She has 4 arms. So for you, I want you to feel or visualize or sense or imagine or pretend, however Sananda or Yeshua or Mother Mary arises to you. Take a few moments to do that. Just notice the details of how he or she arises to you. Now I want you to imagine that that deity is something in his or her hands. So here I'm imagining that in Kuan Yin's hands, she holds a wish-fulfilling jewel. In my case, it's a pearl, because that's actually what came out of her heart. So you can imagine anything. You could imagine it as clear or blue. You could imagine it as egg-shaped crystal. You could imagine it as something else. This simply helps us to remind ourselves that Yeshua, Sananda, Vajrayogini, Mother Mary, Kuan Yin, hold all the wishes of all beings in their hearts, and they have the power to fulfill them. You might notice that other aspects are in their hands. So just notice what arises to you. So for me, there is 108 mala prayer necklace. Oh, and lots of light arose in my room as I said that. So just notice what arises. The number 108, for example, is sacred for many reasons. Sacred places in the body, sacred number of attendants to Kuan Yin, sacred numbers of prayers, words, names, holy name. Just notice what arises. You might want to visualize or sense that Sananda or Christ or Kuan Yin or Vajrayogini or Mother Mary is holding a crystal or a pearl mala or rosary beads. Just notice what arises. A crystal mala represents devotion, where a pearl mala represents pricelessness, that everything is priceless and sacred. Jesus described the kingdom of heaven as a pearl trader who sought the most precious pearl, found it, and sold everything he owned to obtain it. So it's that kind of simple journey that we're on right now together, all of us. Malas themselves represent circles of divine power and blessing that help us to overcome any negativity through devotion and power and the use of mantra. Maybe you see the Divine Mother or Divine Father holding a flower, a full blooming lotus or a rose. Just notice what flower arises if I guide you to look for that. What color is it? Maybe it's just a feeling. My lotuses tend to arise as white with gold, and the roses are red. Just notice how they arise for you. Flowers are a promise from Divine Mother for our enlightenment, or from Divine Father. So if you see a flower, you're just simply reminding yourselves that no matter what is happening in our life, no matter how judged or inadequate or unworthy we might feel, however much we might regret our past actions, actually our truth is eternal, wise, and pure. So this helps us to feel safe. You can even feel it growing through you. The lotus reminds us that it doesn't matter if we feel a bit messy or muddied up or low in energy. Our true nature is always able to shine through it. Our true nature is always pure. So now I want you to see this even more clearly. If you need to open your eyes again to look at your picture, that's fine. If you just want to imagine this, you can. I want you to go even deeper and imagine Christ or Sananda. Imagine whoever arises in front of you. Kuan Yin, Mother Mary, Vajrayogini. I want you to imagine them as luminous white beings, shining white. I want you to imagine that being with their eyes half closed, symbolizing presence and connection between the inner world and the outer world. I want you to imagine them with a light smile. I want you to imagine them with their hands formed in a particular mudra, maybe a prayer posture at his or her chest. And I want you to imagine them with that wish-fulfilling gem at their heart, cradled between their palms in that prayer posture. And perhaps holding crystal beads, pearl malas, whatever they're holding, or flowers. White, blue, red, whatever arises is perfect. Just notice what arises. Notice that worlds are moving around him and her, and around you. And that you are in this completely peaceful sanctuary of blessing. Sense him, sense her, feel them. For as long as you wish, connecting to them from your heart. And then invite them even more deeply. They want to love you, so allow them, imagine them inside your heart, gently caressing your heart and gently shining peace, protection, and blessings in all directions from your heart. Now, as we slowly bring this practice to the finish, we're going to do two last visualizations. The first is an emanation visualization. I want you now to feel the radiance of the spiritual love shining from your heart. You as Sananda, as Yeshua, as Mother Mary or Kuan Yin, you as Vajrayogini, emanate, radiate spiritual love and power. And around you is a ring of fire, symbolizing your power to cleanse, heal, and protect. I want you to visualize and feel that ring of fire surrounding you, growing brighter and stronger, with flames which illuminate and bring light and healing to all, reaching higher and wider. And as the flames reach higher and wider, you emanate yourself as Sananda. So now around yourself, in front of you is another Sananda. So in front of you is another Yeshua, or Mother Mary, or Kuan Yin, or Vajrayogini. And to your right is another Sananda. And to behind you, in behind you is another. And to your left is another. So that Kuan Yin is in 4 places now, as well as in your heart. Mother Mary is all around you, as well as in your heart. Vajrayogini is in front, behind, left, and right, as well as in your heart. And now above you, and now below. You sense her or his many faces, noticing that they're facing in all directions, never missing a thing. There is a calmness and a brightness to all of these. She's in front of you, behind you. He's to the left and right. Allow any concerns, anxiety, confusion, or doubt to collapse under the weight of his spiritual power, under the weight of his spiritual empowerment. Allow your mind to enter into this vision. Allow your heart to absorb and melt into the flames, healing, resting, and relaxing. Allow all these emanations to now multiply many, many times so that there are hundreds of Kuan Yins or Sanandas hundreds of Mother Marys or Vajrayoginis, and that they flow out in all directions, healing the world, shining the light and the power of pure being. And now all of those luminous beings absorb back into you. So all of those luminous Sanandas or Yeshuas, all of those Mother Marys, all of those Kuan Yins or Vajrayoginis flow back and into your heart. And immediately there is a thirst, a feeling of deep thirst inside you. And your soul mouth, that mouth right in the center of your heart, like a mouth of vastness, opens in the center of your heart. Your soul mouth gapes open in need, and immediately a beautiful, luminous hand pours nourishing, sweet nectar from a treasure vase into your heart. Actually, pours it into your heart. You drink it with your heart mouth or your soul mouth with the most extraordinary pleasure and relief. You feel settled and grounded and peaceful and tranquil and happy. And the warmest light emanates from your Kuan Yin heart. The warmest light emanates from Sananda's heart within you, from Yeshua, from Mother Mary, from Vajrayogini's heart. This warm light penetrates every cell. It slowly flows out from your heart and penetrates every cell of your body. The light in your heart becomes the light in every cell. Her presence within your heart becomes her presence within every cell. His presence within your heart becomes his presence within you. You're both connected and united in this light. You are protected, nourished, secure, safe, tranquil, and bright. You are fully enlightened in Kuan Yin, in Vajrayogini, in Mother Mary, in Yeshua, in Sananda. And you let go. You surrender fully to the light within. And now slowly, very slowly, in that most extraordinary enlightened presence, with the Yidam Deity flowing within you, your mind is clear, your heart is clear, your energy field is open and bright. You feel purified and aligned. You feel activated with the most simple, powerful love, allowing yourself to be loved, protected, nourished, and secure in Kuan Yin's presence, in Yeshua's presence, Sananda's presence, in Mother Mary's presence, the light of Vajrayogini. Slowly, slowly, open your eyes a crack at a time. Slowly open your eyes like a child in a temple, sacred temple, feeling the light radiating out from you, feeling the light and brightness of Kuan Yin, Yeshua, Sananda, Vajrayogini, Mother Mary, feeling the love and awe and delight and innocence and freshness of seeing the world for the first time, feeling every moment fresh for the first time, fresh in this enlightened vision and this enlightened feeling, the brightness and the wonder every moment. And as you slowly move your body in these feelings, this feeling of wonder, expansiveness, richness, that every single moment is pure and infinite, that you are indivisible and merge completely with the consciousness of Kuan Yin, Vajrayogini, Christ, Yeshua, Mother Mary, and that every moment is an unbound flow of this potent, loving, natural awareness of the Yidam herself, or the deity himself. So thank you always for the most extraordinary, divine, limitless presence that you bring to this practice. Thank you always for the extraordinary nature of your love and what you bring to this world. And that as you go about your day, every single moment can be a moment that you spend as this enlightened presence, and that you bring to all beings, that you bring this healing light, that you bring this healing wonder, that you bring this immaculate presence of the deity within. So thank you always. We're going to take a moment. I'm going to just go around and get you to share just, a couple of sentences, or if you're still immersed and merged with that and you'd prefer not to speak, then please share it in the chat too. Just the essence of what you felt, or the essence of what awoke. And then we're going to go into it. So we'll take a few moments just to go around, and then we'll go into the past life practice. So just take a moment. I'll give you some time to adjust and to keep breathing and sensing the presence of that Yidam Deity, of the guardian, the mentor, the guide. Just keep sensing into that.